Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Crypto Night Show. We had a few technical troubles again. It's 2 days in a row, unfortunately. I'm going to have to really search there. It's probably a memory issue, but made some room. I don't know. Let's see what happens. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Let's get into it. We've got a big show on at the moment, so you definitely want to check it out. So let's me repost this on X and share it around because the old link would probably be dead now. Probably be long gone dead. We've got DJ Nix in it. You managed to find your way. That's so good. Definitely share the show around. Share the show on X, and I'm definitely going to try and find out what's going on with the initializing. It's called initializing. It's sitting in the back of the studio there, and we're going to find out what is going on there. 2 days in a row. Can't have that. Can't have that. So, repost the show, and let's get going. Without further ado, as we say, 55555, 100%. Nice to see you, DJ Nixon. You were always onto it, I must say. Always onto it. PulseChain loves you. I appreciate that. And hey, look, a big shout out to the community out there. Post the X link. Yeah, there it is. So we're going to post it out. That is the link there. So share the channel around. That really help a lot. Now I'm going to post it in Discord as well, and Telegram as well. Let me just post it over there. And I'll post it in Discord also. Let me just pop that up. A new link. Let's see. New link, and bam, that is the show. So people can join up. Bam. I actually probably should write new show link so people are not confused. New show link. There we go. It's not normally what I like to be doing, but hey, sometimes you got to do it. Let's see. Let's open Discord because it's probably got the old link as well. Actually, let's check to see. Should have the new link actually because it gets notifications going through. But it's probably got a whole ton of them. Probably got a whole ton of them sitting in the live feed there. Let's have a look. Looks like it's got a new one now. I'm not sure if that's the. Let's see if that's the one. I don't know. Hard to tell. Actually, hard to tell. Let's open that up and see whether it actually goes to the right place. Over on Discord, folks. Over on Discord. If you haven't joined, the link's in the video description to join up. Let's see. That looks good. That looks good. So I'm pretty happy with that. All right, let's jump out of Discord. I'll have to fix that up after the show. Can't have that, especially when I have guests on. I had a guest on yesterday. It was the second time it ever happened. I remember last time before that, it was on the Dude when we had the Dude on, right? So it's just the way it goes. But it's probably a memory thing, so I'll get onto it. All right, without further ado, we've got a big show lined up. Honestly, this is going to be pretty awesome. Did I do my hair? Is it disheveled enough? I don't know. I've got to get the Superman curl back. So I might have to go for a haircut, and maybe I'll do that today if I get time. I'm pretty busy today, honestly. We've got Strategy Club on today, and we're also doing something else with the promo team. A big shout out to Crypto MVS out there doing some great work. And, of course, the Crypto Night Show is on the move. We've got more things rolling out. That's going to be a lot of fun, including, of course, we're going to have our first X Space. Are you excited for that? I'm excited for it. It's going to be pretty amazing. Meet the Rising Stars. We've already got a number of bookings. It's booking up pretty fast. I think, if you got to be quick, if you're a project team out there, you want to get on it, we're open-minded, right? We're all about win-win here, and we want people to do well. So get in there if you want to hit either Crypto MVS or myself up to make a booking. If it does get booked up, we've got 5 or 6 spots. If it does get booked up, then we will push it to the next one, which will be in a fortnight's time. And that is the Rising Stars on X Space. So we're excited about that. And that's going to become one of our staples, as you guys know. We've obviously got the monster thread out there every week, and we've got week 4 coming up for that. That's very exciting. If you're a project team on there, get in on that too. What else we got going? We've got a whole roadmap that's going to be flowing out as we move into this bull market. The Crypto Night Show team is going to be, rolling out a number of key publications and discourses out there for people to grow and learn everything about PulseChain, the best of PulseChain, the top of PulseChain, the rising stars of PulseChain, the innovative tokenomics, the real big opportunities on PulseChain. It's all coming here with the Crypto Night Show. I hope you guys enjoy the content. And as you guys know, I'm here every single day, which is a pretty unique, even amongst the influencers on PulseChain, that's a pretty unique spot to be in. So share the channel around if you want to help people get some of the best action. And of course, today we are dropping major alpha today. It's an updated presentation. It is going to be pretty awesome with some cool insights that I'm going to be talking about. So things are just getting really ramping up. Now, I just want to say a big welcome to many of the Strategy Club members. We had quite a few new members recently. If you haven't joined Strategy Club, it's only $35 a month. It really is fantastic value, and we're dropping tons of alpha this weekend alone. After the show, in fact, I think in about maybe 11 p.m. Eastern. So what's that? 3 o'clock New Zealand time. and that's what 1 o'clock p.m. in the afternoon in Australia time. So it gives you an idea. So that is 11 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to be holding a strategy club session that's going to be dropping tons of alpha. I swear it's going to be the top end alpha that anyone's going to hear about. Because we've been following the music, as it were. And so you want to get on that. And of course, we've got the monthly report for Strategy Club coming out as well. So that's going to be dropping as well this weekend. That will be out tomorrow. And of course, that will be for June. So that's going to be pretty comprehensive. And we've got some really cool news in there as well. So join up Strategy Club, links in the video description to Discord. Obviously, you can join Telegram as well. We do encourage you, the links to all that. So check out all the socials and join up today. That's all I can say about that. What else I was going to talk about? I think that's it for the moment. So you're going to see lots of promotion for the X Space coming up on Wednesday. It's going to be Wednesday, and it's 9 p.m. Eastern. So that's going to be about 1 o'clock New Zealand time, 11 o'clock in the morning Australian time on Thursday. Isn't it weird? So we're holding it on Wednesday, but we're doing it on Thursday. That's kind of weird, but that's what happens when you're in the bottom of the world at the front of time. Just the way it goes. All right, so that's enough gabbering for me about the administrative stuff, but it's going to be pretty fun moving ahead. All right, let's jump into some of the cool stuff there. Don't forget to post it around. We've got Condor in house there. Florida here, super. Hey, good to see you. Shout out to Florida. It's one of the few states I have been to. Remember, I've been to Florida. I stayed there 2 months when I was like 16, 17. Man, it was so much fun. I went to high school for 3 days. This is in the 1980s. So this is when outside the 50s, the best decade to be a teenager was the 80s. And of course, it was fantastic, man. I remember I sat in a class, I had all the cheerleaders around me. There's 80s cheerleaders, by the way. 80s cheerleaders around me. Oh my gosh, the puffed up hair and the hairspray and the cool makeup. Man, it was so much fun. And one after another, they're asking me questions. What's it like coming from New Zealand? And all that sort of stuff. It was so much fun. You could imagine me, teenage boy, just lapping that up all the way from down under. They had no idea where New Zealand was back then. It was crazy. It was good times, Condor. DGen in the house as well. I will be in Sarasota in 2 weeks, is DGen. As I guess that's in Florida, yeah. I guess that's in Florida. I don't know all of Florida, but I did go to New Simona Beach, which many of you know. I was at the lakes at Lakeland, Florida. So I was around the lakes there. That's where I was, and I think it was a lot of fun. And funnily enough, I stayed at different places, but one of the places I stayed at was a motorhome. So it was just like being in the movies, because often a lot of movies in the 80s had motorhomes, and you would sit, like The Last Starfighter, and I've been playing a little of that video for X Game and things like that. So it was pretty cool. Very freaky for us. Very different terrain from New Zealand as Florida terrain, right? You got the moss hanging down from trees. You got the squirrels running up and down trees. We don't have that sort of thing. So it was very, very cool. What else there? DJ in house there. Vacation. Fat Sammy in house there. Hey, good to see you, Fat Sammy. Big shout out to you. And of course, I don't know. There's still a couple of spots spare there, Fat Sammy. I don't know whether you guys are coming in to book yourself, but everyone has to book. You have to book for it. We're not doing any on the spots unless we have a shortfall week, and that's kind of play. But I don't suspect we're going to have. I think we're going to have plenty of teams booking in. Get in there if you guys want to get it. It's a first in, first served. We've got 5 or 6 spots, so it'll be about 10 minutes each, 15 minute stops, depending how many you have. Probably if we have 5, 5, maybe 6. Yeah, so if we have 6, we'll do 10 minutes each, and that will be basically people talking about their projects and their pumpamentals. So it's a chance for people to hear some of the rising stars on PulseChain. And of course, sometimes that may be an existing project that's like expanding, or it might be a new project with new tokenomics. So you definitely want to check that out. We're going to make it the hotspot, really, I think, for that kind of thing. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. There are going to be other X spaces out there, talking about news, talking about drama. There's something for everybody, but we're going to focus in on all the alpha projects on PulseChain. It's kind of our niche. How Fat Sammy says, we will be there. Hey, awesome. That's exciting. I'm so glad about that. Just either hit MVS or myself up to book a spot. I'm not sure if you have already done that with MVS, so let me know. Love what Superman is doing. Also, big shout out to all the Hexkins that have stayed with him during this painful, elongated altcoin bear market. Yeah, just remember, money and time pay. Stick with it, absolutely. And we're going to be talking about how that big alpha is today. What is coming for big X gains? It's going to be big, guys. So you check out this presentation's really just upgraded. It's next level. And I'm going to do a special presentation, which is going to be absolutely the top end of alpha drops, but that's not today. That will be coming up probably. I'll probably do that next week, is my guess. But I think you guys are going to love the numbers. It's going to be a lot of numbers. So I hope you guys, enjoy that. Hex Vader in house there. Hey. We've got Butch as well. Hey, Butch, good to see you. Pleasure. And DGN Hexkin as well with the hearts. Loving that. and Richie Robinson. That's a name I know. Greetings from the Netherlands, Superman. A big shout out to you, Richie. Hope you're doing well there in the Netherlands. Well, you're going to appreciate some of the content today because it's not too far from where you are, I guess, and that is we're going to be talking about Sun Mini Meal a bit as well. So I hope you guys enjoy it. All right, without further ado, let's get into the show and let's see where we are at the moment. Now, I just had a couple of things I was going to set up, so let me just go back down here. And we're going to talk about that later on. All right, so let me scroll over there. Let me push this in the right place. And let me just remind myself of where everything is at. All right, I think we're good. I think we're good. All right, so let's scroll back up here, and we're so disheveled today. So disheveled. DJ Hexkin with the super sticker to start off the show. Smiling face with heart eyes. I like that. That's very, very cute. And I like your dog there. Very cute. I'm sure that's a very nice family dog. So nice one there, DJ. All right, without further ado, let's kick into it and let's go for gold. All right, we're going to start off with the stock market. Oh, yeah, this is what happens. I haven't got my split studio, so I have to add the link in. This is what happens when you have a bit of trouble with the initialization. You lose all your links. All right, so there we go. All right, that is where we're at. Stock market today. So this is the results for Friday, so the end of the week, right? S&P 500 ends lower. But Notch's best month since November 2023. So this is a good sign, right? Notching in a good month. So let's see what the results are. We had the Dow Jones is actually positive, so it's actually green. It's up 0.13%, 54 points of 42,270. And let's have a look at that on the kind of, I guess, the last 5 years and see where we are. So we're just off the top there. I mean, we were back here in December. We're at 43,800, I think it was up here. So we're down, but not too far down from there, as you can see in that chart. And of course, we got the S&P 500 is currently flat today. It is at 5,900, and the Nasdaq there is down 0.33%, 62 points to 19,113. And we're just off the top there too. That was up here, so that was just below 20,000 there. So we're not too far from the top, not as well. Now, the US dollar is slightly depreciated. It's at 99 on the index. Remember, it's when Trump came in, it was about 108. This is the US exchange rate versus its trading partners. So it's a pretty important indicator, whether the US dollar is stronger, whether it's weaker, and what that means for consumers, what that means for exports. That's kind of some of the main things there, and inflation, of course. Now, moving commodities, we got West Texas and Brent oil at $60, $62. And so this has been a big triumph of Trump's, right? Getting the oil prices down so much lower, especially heading into driving season. Summer is starting. In fact, it's tomorrow for us. Tomorrow's winter for us, sorry, I should say. We're at the bottom of the world. So the 1st of June is going to be our winter, isn't it? So boo-hoo for us and hooray for you in the United States and up in the Northern Hemisphere there. You're entering summer, right? So that's going to be very, very exciting. I'm sure they're going to be some sort of, do you have summer solstice parties out in the desert or something? I know you probably have something like that. Hey, Bob, good to see you. Hey, everybody, glad to catch a live after forever. Hey, it's good to see you, Bob. And I have seen you on X, by the way. So big shout out there. Hi, Bob. Long time no see, indeed. Yeah, way long. How are you? Are we pretty good? You guys having a good chat in the chat there. So nice. Fat Sam says, God bless you. Hope you are keeping well. Absolutely. And I'm sure that Bob is doing well there. Hey, Sammy. Yeah, big shout out to Sammy's in the house. All right. So, we've got a lot going on there. And, of course, gold there at $3,330. Silver is at $33 at the moment, down slightly. But we're going to expect that see that run too, especially as Trump moves forward. Now, if you're in Strategy Club, you would have seen me post a couple of videos that were pretty important, right? So it's really good for some people to check out the whole thing and actually do some study. Like I said, just relying on speculating on meme coins, that's not necessarily going to make it for you, because you can pick bad meme coins, etc. And so maybe the market's going to be a bit different too. I suspect meme coins are going to have their run like normal, but it could be you're going to have to be really choosy what you pick, right? Because there's so many now. So you just really have to be clever on that. All right, so let's have a look where we are at the moment. NVIDIA leads tech lower on fears of a further US regulatory crackdown on China. As I said this in the discussion the other day. Europe and China are going to be the two sticky ones, right? China, because they always change the game on you, right? That's how they do it. And also the Europeans are a little bit like that too. Although Trump really, with the 50% tariff increase the other day, got the Europeans to the table pretty quickly because they care about money a lot, right? They care about money. China's going to try and bluff around a little bit, but really they cannot rely on upsetting America, really, because China's economy is in feeble standings, let's say. So yeah, it's going to be pretty important for them. I suspect, regardless of what trade deal comes out of China, that the US says, "Oh, we're not really diversifying from China," but the US will naturally diversify from China with all these new trade deals, right? 115 trade deals. We already know, and this is if you haven't heard of this already, we already know there are three. Trade deals that are going to be done, right? 3 trade deals that are already going to the president's desk. We may see those come out this week, so we're going to talk about that a bit as well. That is pretty bullish, right? Anyway, Trump plans to widen restrictions on China's tech sector with new regulations aimed at subsidiaries of the company. So very cool. I'm happy about seeing this. China for decades was stealing US and other Western technology. And so I'm really happy about all this stuff. They do need to be pulled in on a lot of stuff, regardless of the trade outcome. And of course, yeah, Trump wrote on Truth Social, China, perhaps not surprisingly so to some, has totally violated its agreement with us. Remember, they had made an in-principle agreement, and so that they seem to have obviously breached that. He added so much for being Mr. Nice Guy, and of course, it was unclear what the president was referring to, but followed a U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. And like I say, if you want to understand, Trump's economic strategy, Scott Bessent is the man that you must understand. So you need to go and watch Scott Bessent. I've played him many times here, but if you want to know what Trump's strategy is, that's the guy you need to follow. There was also a couple of other economic advisors in the White House that you can follow as well, but Scott Bessent is the main one. And of course, we've been talking about that strategy for months now because that's immediately we followed Scott Bessent, right? Yeah, it's very, very cool. So stating that trade negotiations between the two countries had stalled, adding that a personal intervention from President Trump may be needed to ensure progress. So it was a nice little ploy there from China to do that. So they're going to make it really, really sticky there. I believe we may at some point have a call between the president and a chair Xi, President Xi there, giving the magnitude of the talks, given the complexity. This is going to require both leaders to weigh in with each other. So that's kind of where we are there. And of course, earlier this month, US and China agreed to reduce or suspend several tariffs, with the US lowering duties on China imports from 145% to 30%, and China cutting its retaliatory tariffs from 125% to 10%. The agreement also included a 90-day suspension of additional tariffs. And of course, we already had our first one, right? For everybody else, that's expiring on the 9th of July. So that's coming up as well. Now, the Democrats and the activist judges are also trying to stall Trump's strategy on the border on violent criminals and all that sort of stuff. They love violent criminals and crime, you see. And so they're also trying to stymie his economic plan, right? And of course, they've got multiple ways of trying to do that, either through the Federal Reserve, through tariffs, and this is what they try to do, right? They tried to stall his tariffs, and then of course the appeal court has now put those tariffs back in place. So there's quite a bit of battle going on there. The next hearing on the case scheduled for 5th of June, further pushing out decisions on hiring, spending, or cut rates there. So we'll see how that goes. PCE, of course, the personal consumer expenditure data is coming out. This is more important than the CPI, right? It's more broader. The personal consumption expenditure. And this is what the Fed's main inflation gauge is. So an inflation metric closely monitored by the Fed. It pointed to further easing inflationary pressures in the United States. So, well done to Trump there. Pretty exciting. Of course, we saw today real wages in the United States have crept up slightly. So that's another win for Trump. We also saw yesterday that the Trump's support in the polls had gone up to record highs as well in the Rasmussen poll, and of course, particularly from men, right? Because men are more logical thinkers. That's kind of the way. We don't fall for the propaganda so easily, right? There's definitely some beta males out there that do that. All right, better not get into a social show. We'll keep on to the crypto and the economics, but that's kind of where we are at the moment. PCE price index recorded a 2.1% increase during the month, the lowest since February 2021. So good news, guys. Well, they widely watched a core metric, which strips out more of the volatile items like food and fuel, came in at 2.5% annually, below February's 2.6%. The U.S. economy contracted an annual rate of 0.2% in the first quarter, according to the data released Thursday, suggesting Trump's administration's chaotic trade policies had hampered economic growth in the world's largest economy. Now, obviously, with quarters, if you get 2 quarters of negative GDP growth, you're basically in a technical recession. Now, of course, the US has a special organization that decides what's a recession, apparently. We saw that under Biden. But, of course, essentially, if it's negative for 2 quarters, you're in a technical recession, and that's pretty much where you are. So kind of kind of the play there. But you look, I think we saw from Treasury Scott Bessent there that we will. He's very bullish about positive economic growth into the third, fourth quarter of this year and ramping up. Right, expecting as high over 3%. So they're expecting quite the rebound from that as well. So very, very bullish stuff. We also saw that the tax bill we saw a lot from the around the tax bill this week that that's going to be very be pushed forward. They're going to get that over the line before the 4th of July. So it looks like we've got at least 3 big trade deals going to be done. We've got some sticky stuff happening with China. It looks like Europeans have capitulated again and will come to the table and make a proper deal. You got to remember, it's actually Trump making free trade. Just remember that. I know he's got his 10% tariff there for the premium access to the United States, but it's actually Trump that's actually creating more free trade, right? It's not these other guys that say they are the liberals and the progressives. They're the ones that have had big non-tariff and tariff barriers up for decades, right? So they didn't care that China was stealing all this technology. They say, "Oh, we're going to deal with this," but they never did, right? They never really did. And of course, so this is it's actually China. It's actually President Trump that's actually making trade more free, and of course the world safer as well. So it's kind of hilarious where it's all going. Anyway, so that's kind of where we are at the moment. So not too bad. Everything's kind of tracking well for Trump's strategy. And as you guys know, that's essentially the big tax bill. And of course, the trade deals. We're going to get some big news, I suggest to you, over the next 2 weeks. And of course, we're also going to get more regulation, deregulation, and of course, leveraging as well. So it's going to be kind of cool. So that is where we are at the moment. And that brings us into crypto, which is the land that we live in. So let's got a couple of comments in the chat there. Let's see who else is around. All right. Let's jump back up here. Let me just scroll down here. We've got Brennan in house there. Hey, good to see you, Brennan. Hey, Superman and family. Big shout out there. Hexfire says chat is fire for a Saturday. Out season is loading. I like that one. Oh, big shout out to you guys. What else there? Bob says everything is awesome. Thanks. Lots of grandbabies to keep up with. Nice one there, Bob. A nice one indeed. We've got Amish Kid in the house. They sent you a DM. We've got a couple of coins you might be. No, I did see the Amish and I have responded to you in kind. I do not generally respond to a lot of DMs just because there's a lot of malicious people out there. But I did respond to yours. So there we go. What else there? Let me just get out and tell you, we've got Crypto Jackson House. They smash the likes and subscribe. Yeah, if you want to hit me up, it's probably best to hit me up in Telegram, in our Telegram group, or in Discord. Those are probably the 2 best places that respond. Let's respond on X because X does have a lot of problems with the DMs. So just take note on that. So if you're regular, you want to hit me up, get into the Telegram group or Discord, and you can tag me there. All right. Also in the Discord, we actually have a crypto helpline, which is pretty exclusive to us. I don't know anyone else that does. So get in there as well if you have any crypto questions. We've got a lot of cool people in there that can help out with that. Let me just scroll down here. We've got Trev in the house there. Hey, Trev, good to see you as well. Always a great vibe suit, man. I'm doubling down buying Pulse and PulseX every week. Keep grinding, man. Trev, that is a fantastic strategy. And, of course, if you missed a post I made yesterday, PulseX is trending really strongly versus Pulse. And, of course, that will benefit if we get this run that we're expecting. The DEX will get hyper pumped. And who knows, we might get other stuff happening there too. All right, without further ado, let's get into the crypto roundup. And we are sitting at 3.39 trillion at the moment. We're down 4.5%. So we have had quite a bit of a shave off in the market cap because we were up over 3.6 billion, right? So we have lost a couple $100 million there in a few days. So yeah, a bit of a cooling off before we get this big move, I guess. We got Bitcoin at the moment at $104,353. And of course, today we saw Michael Saylor at the Bitcoin conference at the keynote speaker. And of course, talking about ways of getting wealthy, and of course, ended with a Satoshi Nakamoto saying maybe you should just buy some because this might catch on, this thing. So that was Michael Saylor. He was treated like a bit of a rock star, and of course, we talked the other day about proof of Bitcoin. He got asked that question, I think, yesterday at another panel. And so let's see what happens there. I'm in 2 minds about it. I tend to agree with both sides of the arguments. At least you're kind of in the middle, doesn't it? But 555,000 Bitcoin, I think, is currently sitting at, or give or take. I think he added a little bit more to that, so it might be at 560 or something. And so, big deal happening there. So 104,353. So even the Bitcoin conference couldn't get things going. I must say that their main event was a lot better than in the past. And so let's see where they head from here with the old Bitcoin community. Now, obviously, if you've been on Bitcoin chain lately, it's slow, right? It can take you 10 minutes to half an hour to get a transaction. It is old technology, but the reality is that Bitcoin is the digital gold at the moment on the chain. Now, I don't know if it's going to be the only one that's hyper valued in the future, and so it may very well get flipped, or at least be challenged for that spot in some stages in the years ahead. We shall see where that heads. And of course, it will really depend on how much, what other kind of tokenomics can be developed that outdo the amount of money, relatively speaking, going into Bitcoin, obviously, as the store of gold. So that's going to be a pretty interesting theme in the future. Ethereum at the moment, $2,543, down 4.2% after its little mini rally. And of course, we've got XRP there at number 4, down 5% today, $217. BNB at number 5, down 3.5% at $661. We've got Solana at number 6, is down 6.5% there at $158. And of course, we've got that is kind of, I still expect us to see the usual hyper meme theme during the bull market. You just have to be very selective with what you're getting, I think, is the key there. We got Dogecoin there, number 8, is up 11 or down 11%. So big mark off on Doge, and Solana have been performing pretty well these recently. And of course, that has all been shaved off pretty much. We have Tron there is down 3.6% at 27 cents, and Cardano or ADA is down 5.9%. Those are top 10, so all down today. Worst performer over the last week is Dogecoin, down 14.6%, and Solana down 10.4%, and they had been performing quite nicely, but they are down today. The best performer in the last week is Ethereum, still up 0.2% from a week ago. Now let's look at the top 100. Best performers at the moment, SPX 6900. That is up 14.8%. Quant, this is my Quant guy. Do you remember that in The Big Short? I love that scene. This is my Quant guy. I love that scene, man. I'm going to go watch The Big Short again. It was pretty cool. Up 13.1%. We've got Toncoin from Telegram doing well lately, up 7.7% for the week, although down 8% today. So the market is down quite hard today. Kronos there at the moment, up 4.2% for the week. That is actually up today, 6.9%. So that all pretty much happened today and a bit more. And then we've got Uniswap there sitting at number 5, up 3.5%. But of course, we need a lot more alternatives to Uniswap. And, there are more wallets coming up. But, we want true DeFi wallets, right? So bring it on, Richard Hart, which is going to be coming up soon. So that's kind of where we are there. We had a couple other ones been doing quite well over the last week, which is Tokenized Exchange Virtual Protocol. So they've been doing quite well too. And so they're up slightly today. Now, top gainers at the moment overall on the CoinGecko is a Pocket Network, up 572%. What the heck? So you might want to check that out, see what's going on there. Pocket Network. We've got LivePeer up 129% as well. And for Investor, woohoo! Good old Investor and PulseChain there. From the looks of it, I'm pretty sure it's the PulseChain one, up 40%, making the list today. That's pretty crazy. That is pretty crazy. Yeah, PulseChain for Investor making the list. Is this the first PulseChain one we've seen? I'm pretty sure it's the first PulseChain one we've seen there. So that's big shout out to OG WebChef on there as well. So there we go. For Investor, how about? I'm sure that's the first PulseChain one we've seen. That is hilarious. Is that a sign? Is that a bull market sign? Let me know in the chat what you guys think of that, because that is pretty alpha. It's not pretty alpha. Fat Sammy says I'm also long on PulseX against Pulse. Yeah, it looks like it's going to do multiple moves, I think, on the X's there. DJ Sen's not chancing to keep my Pulse and PulseX bags even. Nice one there, DJ. Hey, that's a good strategy. Good strategy indeed. All right, so let's jump away to the trending. We've got Natix Network. That's down 8.6%, and Qubit is there as well, trending, as well as LivePeer, which is also on the top gainers. So those are kind of some of the action Jacksons today with the down market, 4.5% off the market cap. It's a pretty big day down, isn't it? So we're sitting just below $3.4 trillion at the moment on a CoinGecko. Now, that brings us into some of the news. Now, I had a lot more news, but I closed it down because I thought it was one of the problems that I had on the crypto. So actually, I've got my news actually, but I dropped a couple other cool sites that I wanted to go show you because I think they're pretty cool. But I'll maybe pick them up another day. They're probably pretty data heavy, so I'm going to have to clean up some action there. Bob says that's awesome with Finvestor, an amazing group of guys. Yeah. And of course, you do have to, if you're in the OG WebChef, you've got to keep pretty close in that Telegram group to know what's happening, because the prices move a lot on those tokens, so you got to be in the right ones at the right time. But for investors, kind of the parent of it all, isn't it? So doing pretty well. Corporate crypto treasuries are surging despite mixed macro signals, and this is a big theme. So we had Crypto Paradise. We had the Surf token with Nick on yesterday, and we had talked about corporate investment coming to crypto, which is going to be massive. And of course, he had some good insights for that. Now, crypto treasuries are surging despite mixed macro signals. This is a very positive sign of what's coming up here. And of course, this is what takes time. Risk. First of all, being not ignorant and actually learning about crypto and the opportunities there. Secondly, about changing your risk profile, not just for you as a CEO or an executive, but also for the board that runs the show as well. So and of course your financial officer and changing your policies and all sorts of stuff. There's a lot that goes into shifting companies, and so but corporate interest in digital assets is gaining momentum, with public companies increasingly allocating Bitcoin and Ethereum to their balance sheet, according to Binance Research latest report. Binance reported that more than 117 listed companies now hold over 800,000 Bitcoin collectively, including recent adopters like Trump Media and Technology Group, which launched a 2.5 billion BTC strategy backed by 50 institutional investors. And you guys know, we talked about Michael Saylor earlier. They're really trying to follow in the MSTR, footsteps there. Now that's going to be tough because there's only so much Bitcoin around, and most of it's sitting in the retail hands and some of the big, well-known, holders like the Winklevoss, Winklevoss twins. So people like that. So it means that you guys are going to get rich, but you give it over to the big guys, and then it becomes Bitcoin in particular becomes very institutionally held. So this is the trade-off. You guys get rich holding your Bitcoin, and then when you sell it to the big institutions, they take it off, and it becomes more like the stock market and the main street. So that's the Bitcoin's future. But DeFi, that's where we live. That should hopefully end up always being, truly free. Hopefully, there's going to be a lot of battles still ahead, but we're certainly heading in the right direction with the old Trump digital strategy there to some degree. We're going to have some setbacks there, but I think we'll mostly be on the winning side. The report also noted Ethereum growing presence in corporate treasuries with sharp links. So this is what I said. I said, don't be too worried about Ethereum. There's a lot of institutional ETFs, and of course, they're coming. We've got more coming. More countries are also launching them, but really the US is kind of the main one. And this we're going to have plenty of money pumping into Ethereum, so I wouldn't be too worried about that. Mixed market sentiment. Despite this institutional momentum, market sentiment remained mixed. The Bitcoin gave that recent gains, falling 5% over the week as profit taking and broad asset rotation pressured prices. Ethereum declined 1%, while altcoins also retraced earlier. Binance attributed this to capital rotation and cautious sentiment and persistent macro uncertainty. Short-term sentiment received a lift from stronger US consumer confidence and a series of trade truce announcements. However, the longer-term outlooks are clouded by rising US bond yields, a weaker than expected Q1 GDP contraction of 0.2%, and a newly passed US tax bill projected to add $4 trillion to national debt over the next decade. Now, I think this is a little bit misleading around the tax bill, but we're expecting some pretty good moves in GDP, and therefore probably a better than expected lift in actually federal revenue from that, despite the tax cuts and extensions. So that's kind of where we're at the moment. Bitcoin highlighted that Binance highlighted that the spot Bitcoin ETF recorded 10 straight days of inflows, and we've highlighted that the last couple of days ourselves here, reversing on May the 29th, suggesting underlying demand but a fragile investor outlook. But I said to you, if we're getting a couple of billion day candles on those ETFs, we're probably going to start getting some multiple $billion days. You watch it happen. It's going to be beautiful as we move through into this bull market. It's going to be nice. All right, so that's kind of where we are at the moment. And we're going to probably leave it there. I'm not going to read the rest of the article, but that is a pretty good article there. If you want to read the rest of it, I think it's a pretty good write-up. Then check that out. That is the link. All right, bam, that's that one there. Nice little post there from crypto.news. And the next one is Cantor Fitzgerald. Wall Street giant launches Bitcoin fund backed by gold safety net. And we're seeing a lot more of these gold type of backed cryptos. And it's a nice some more conservative way of, firms and institutions and VCs and stuff like that getting into Bitcoin and crypto. So pretty cool to see that. We believe this is a truly groundbreaking investment vehicle, one that helps investors to tap into Bitcoin's potential growth with downside protection based on the price of gold. This fund reflects our entrepreneurial spirit and commitment to delivering bold, forward-thinking solutions that redefine what's possible in the digital asset space. So that's kind of cool. And of course, it was a hybrid approach there from Cantor Fitzgerald, recently $2 billion Bitcoin collateralized loan initiative, underscoring the firm's growing commitment to digital assets. So, cool little innovations happening there. And this is opening up all over the place, right? And so there's something for everybody being able to be, had in the old Bitcoin space. Particularly linked to the gold. So not too bad there as well. If you want to read the full article, I'll post that one as well in the chat. I just wanted to highlight, some of the cool things happening in the space that we may not generally spend our time on, right? Because we're in DeFi, on PulseChain, on other chains like that. But there is once, for the big players in the world, there are all these innovations happening to feed their desire to get into crypto, which is kind of cool. All right, so that leads us into our main event. We're going to get into the main event. Where are we going here? I'm not sure what the best view is, but let's go to this page, see if that's any good. And we're going to go into the presentation today, which is the main thing. It looks like I just made it big enough. Let's see. Let's see if I can just get myself a little bit higher about that. All right, so kind of cool. So this is our presentation today. This is on PulseChain will make you rich. It will. It's going to be unbelievable. And of course, you guys here at the right time of the cycle. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, you could have missed the whole last couple of years almost, not quite, but almost. And you would be set up for what I think is going to be an incredible run in the cycle. And of course, you're going to find out what's coming for the 4 big X gains. So we're going to go through all the things that are coming up. So I've done a presentation like this before, the future of PulseChain, but this is an upgraded version of that. So I hope you guys enjoy some of the extra insights here about how bullish PulseChain is looking. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hey, Sean O'Malley, big shout out to you. Love your worksheet, man. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. And welcome. All right, so let's get into it. First slide here, of course, I'm bringing more of the branding in, the Crypto Night Show branding. I love it. Brendan says, is that a green screen? No, I just changed it because I had purple. Remember I had purple? I've changed the whole thing. We're keeping the same branding. It's going to be branding worldwide. Branding worldwide. What was it that movie, the brothers, the Step Brothers? Yeah, and they have that band. Was it that song Worldwide? Something? Oh no, the band was something, or what is it? Their business was called something worldwide. I can't remember. Let me know in the chat what it was. Something worldwide. That's hilarious. All right, so PulseChain will make you rich. Let's get into it. And of course, let's start off with their recent moves. Let's review what's happened so far, and most of it this year, right? Most of it this year. And PulseChain developers, right? So we had a lot of developers launching new protocols. We've got a lot of rising stars in particular, and they're doing some really cool stuff today. I mean, they're really doing some really cool stuff. And so we've had a lot of cool projects launch. We've got a lot of small projects, a lot of medium projects. It is really, really exciting. We've had a lot of token deployers, right? So, everybody out there can basically democratized, allowing you to launch your own tokens, your own farm pools, your own communities. If you want to start a community, but you don't know how to develop anything, there are now sites for you to do that, right? Which is, we've covered a couple of them. Nexion, of course, out there is one of the top ones. Axel is a huge one out there as well. Now they've got different issues with them. You've got different pros and cons, so you got to check all those out. But there's a lot of different opportunities out there that you can make GoPulse. You can do tokens on GoPulse. There's lots of different sites out there that you can pick and choose from. Some of them are way more advanced than others, though, offering you the ability to do farming and rewarding and all sorts of stuff. And there's a whole ton of new stuff coming. I am going to be covering some very cool stuff coming up soon, which I think is just absolutely gorgeous for PulseChain. Yeah, I said it, gorgeous. It's not a very masculine term, I guess, unless I'm talking to a woman. But it's going to be pretty good for the chain. It's going to be pretty good for the chain. So looking forward to that. PulseChain developers doing great stuff. We had a lot of cool stuff launching all the time. Tri-stables, Richard Hart did the tri-stables, right? USDC, USD Tether, and DAI, and that is on PulseX. That has been really, really cool. A great sign there for that, and you can earn a nice little yield just in stable. So very good, very suitable for very large holders of stablecoins, earning a nice little yield there. And of course, incentive inflation was cut for the incentive token, cut 20x, and of course we went down to 0.03 ink per second, and that's about 2,600 ink per day on the farms. And that had a corresponding cut in the amount of liquidity in there. I think it was something like a reduction of something like $200 million or something, reduction when they got cut. So that's thinned out the liquidity pools on PulseChain, meaning that the price can go down very fast and also go up very fast. Now, following the incentive token inflation cut, we had that big sell-off, which showed you how vicious that was with the liquidity changes as well. But we have come off the bottom. I'm glad to tell you, and because most of you already know that. So that is kind of cool. But the inflation cut means that incentive token is way more valuable from a supply point of view, and what applications will come up for it. That's the other side of it, right? So that's the other side of the coin for incentive token there. And of course, you guys know PulseX has a master chef contract, and will that be handed over? Because it sort of says once there's I guess enough maturity on chain that and distribution of the token that powers of a DAO might be coming to the PulseX. That'd be pretty exciting. we'll wait to see when and when that happens. I don't think it's a matter of if, more when that happens. Going to be interesting. PulseX Farms, of course, I just talked about that being the LP being a lot thinner. That's been dramatic for the pump, and so when we do get a trend reversal, and we are, I think, in the early stages of that trend reversal, it will be pretty exciting for these parabolic rises into the future. And of course, we heard from Surf Nick yesterday about him talking about 2025X. Seemed quite reasonable. I thought that was kind of nice pitch with those price targets for Pulse, etc. So not bad. Pump ties, of course, was pretty exciting. And of course, Richard 2.0, right? Richard Hart 2.0 into the meme coins. Richard Hart 1.0 not into meme coins. Richard Hart 2.0 for providing a whole platform for it. So we had pump tires, but what did it do? Also, obviously, gave a lot of alternatives to fork coins on PulseChain, or at least meme ones, and it also had a fixed supply of 1 billion coins. And of course, maybe quite a bit of it being held by the pump ties as well. And of course, allows you, if you do get to become king of the hill, you get pushed over to PulseX, and you get to maybe get a bit of a rally on that, maybe 3x, 10x or more on some of those coins. So it's been quite interesting. The other thing, of course, it burns Pulse. More Pulse it gets burned, more PulseX gets bought up and burned. So it's got lots of public good aspects to it as well for PulseChain. That is on the old pump tires, and not bad. Now the next one, of course, is the Hex sacrifice and Gen Wallet staking T-share payout. So we saw a lot of big short-term stakes, massive short-term stakes at 350 billion or something. So pretty massive. Actually, yeah, so 350 billion, I think it was 350 billion, and pretty massive. And then we saw a whole ton of laddered stakes after that, right? So that lowered the inflation not on the Hex as well. So not only did we get inflation lowered on Signum token, but we got the T-share payout got slammed from 7.6 down to about 1.6 hex per T-share. Now that will slowly creep back up again over time, but that was a big cut in inflation, and I would argue it makes Hex even more pumpamental-ish afterwards. And of course, with the slightly thinner liquidity and relatively, only so many people can hold like 1 million Hex. This is both on PulseChain and on Ethereum. That is a very bullish sign for Hex relative to even Pulse and PulseX. And on Signum token, we shall see. There's going to be a bit of a battle there, I suggest. The other thing, of course, on eHex, we now have HexFlex from Dipcatcher, which offers a whole second layer, protocol, which makes eHex via wrapped eHex a fee coin for that chain, that second layer chain innovation. So that's going to be really fun to see that, and there's going to be tons of innovation on that. So that's going to be pretty interesting to see that play out extra demand. Anything that plays extra demand is very good. I kind of laugh at people that always scoff at some of these guys. Go, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Well, it's all extra demand, dude. These people, I don't know, they like to fud their own bags. Like if people are going to use a coin, good on them, good on them. As long as it's safe, then you're in good hands, right? You're in good hands. So I'm pretty excited about where that's heading. All right, so also we've had the Fetch-Oracle launch from Liquid Loans. Obviously, that sort of almost came out of the blue. People were losing hope that would even come to market. Fetch-Oracle did come to market. I would say it's like the minimum bells and whistles, but it seems to be ticking over. And so that has been good news as well. So big shout out to Liquid Loans for that. But then, of course, we had the big SEC case victory. This cannot be understated. This is ginormous for PulseChain. Gives PulseChain a very special status in PulseX and Hex. So this is very, very big news. And, of course, we've seen some big things from the whales around this, and I'm going to get into that in a minute. But the SEC case is huge and got a lot of wide appreciation from non-PulseChain influencers and community members as well. So that was very, very cool indeed. And of course, on the back of that, we also had PDI Maker was closed. This was obviously Mr. Dong, and the exploit was a big problem. A leakage of value out of chain is fundamentally a big problem. And of course, that was closed down with a little magic spell from Katie and their team at UXUSDC. So kind of cool. So that was important. So mostly closed down, we say. The question begs though, if a spell can close it, can a spell open it up again? That's an interesting question, isn't it? So if a spell formula can spell code can close it down, can it be opened up again? That's the question. Now we know that PDI itself is now about 45 billion, I think it is, something like that. I can't remember the exact numbers. I think it's something like 45 billion. And so, yeah, there are use cases coming for it. So that gives, pretty exciting future potentially for PDI. I don't see PewDie as it's not obviously the Ethereum PewDie, but it's people out there going PewDie to $1. Now you're going to have to use some other protocol to do that. So we'll see where that all heads. A lot of people trying to drop stuff around that at the moment. So we'll see. We'll keep an open mind on that one. But let's go to the next one. A Rich Hart video came out. Of course, that was spectacular. Everyone was excited about that. And of course, we still have the Interpol hanging over Richard Hart's head there. And of course, just false claims, right? Just ridiculous claims. But this is what happens, when you got corruption in the system, political system, right? Between the former administration and the SEC, and of course Interpol in Europe. I mean, you guys know how it all works. It's pretty corrupt. Richard Hart there is obviously got his lawyers fighting there, and even Rack and Michelle dropped a little bit of alpha about that was in progress. So hopefully that Richard won't necessarily just have to do videos with black screens. It was pretty kind of funny there. And of course, mysteriously, where was he? Was he in the Netherlands? Was he in the Netherlands along with who else is in their house here? Was he in the Netherlands along with who was in the chat there with from the Netherlands? Let me just find it. Hopefully I can, but sometimes I can't. Oh man, is it that far up in the chat? I don't know. Richie Robinson in the Netherlands. Maybe that was all filmed in the Netherlands. I don't know, but it could have been. All right, so let's move on. That was a pretty good video, and we enjoyed that. In fact, I had a little a clip from that, right? But it's not on this particular view, so I can't play it unless I had it over here. Let me have a look. From Richard Hart. This one here. So let's play this.
You could get a God candle at any moment. You could get a giant green candle at any moment because it's easier to get them because it takes less economic energy because there's less of it for sale.
Yeah, so I mean that was a cool little. There was a couple of little real alpha drops in there from Richard as well, and that God mode candle can come at any time. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see where that comes from. Now, of course, we have been talking about Sun Mini Meal, and of course, Plus. I've added Plus institutions here. I cannot understate how big this is for PulseChain. Sun Mini Meal founder Wolfgang. Now, he has had criminal activities in about 20 years ago or so. In the early 2000s, it was obviously half the age back then, and he's obviously the last sort of 10 to 14 years has been building back a better future for himself. So that seems to be the case there as well. There's still some people hanging things around his head about rug pulls on tokens and things like that, but he does seem to have turned the table there. But that being said, you always got to be cautious about things like that, but does seem to be delivering some pretty impressive value now. And his life does seem to have changed quite a lot. Now, do you get that same sort of personality out of yourself? You to really, head towards the light, as it were. You can decide. But Sun Mini Meal itself has been, delivering. So they've been making their product, selling their product, and building plants. We've got pictures of the plants being built, and we've got a bigger team that's involved with them now. I'm very excited about this. Now, we're going to talk about some really cool alpha stuff. So we're going to go to that quickly on Sun Mini Meal because I want to break that down. Let me just go to the update that I did 13 hours ago on X. So major news, PulseChain's rising corporate giant Sun Mini Meal is leading partner. And I must express this a lot, leading partner. There's only two leading partners for this. And of course, this is Arnold Schwarzenegger's summit here, Austrian World Summit. Now, this is a very globalist, leftist type of, authoritarian players in here. So even got Tony Blair, of course, the one that destroyed the UK. He really destroyed the UK, and of course ramifications for New Zealand as well. Sending our former toxic Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern, who absolutely wrecked our country, sent by Blair as well from the Labour Party. The whole thing's all set up in the Labour Party, and if you've ever dealt with them, as I have, you know how corrupt they are. So that is pretty much it. We got leading partner here at the Austrian World Summit on the 3rd of June. So I'm not endorsing the Austrian World Summit, but it is a big part, a big deal for these particular people in the world, right? The people that love the Marxism and globalism and progressivism, right? This is their thing, right? And of course, is leading partner at the Austrian World Summit on the 3rd of June with over 2.3 billion engagements. So as these contract points on, online, etc., that they have, so all adds up, right? So pretty exciting. It's not 2.3 billion people, but it has a lot of engagement. So it's a pretty good publication there for not only Sun Mini Meal to get attention, but also for PulseChain indirectly. So kind of neat. Interview partners Arnold Schwarzenegger, Austria President Alexander Bellin, and Wolfgang CEO Sun AG. which is the one we care about, right? Sun AG, Sun Mini Meal there, which is kind of cool. And just looking at here, what happened to my images? My images all disappeared, but that's probably because I'm too scrolled up here. Am I? I'm not sure. Maybe I am. But let's have a look. We keep going. So the layout here. Oh, there we go. I have to click into it. So that is the lineup there. So we've got Arnold Schwarzenegger's going to be there, and of course we've got Alexander Bellin, the federal president of Austria, and we've also got Wolfgang Grabner. And of course that's the one we care about. He's the one from Sun Mini Meal. Now the fact that he got on here is very exciting. So it definitely shows his network is getting better. And that is because they have a lot of renewable energy people on here, right? But actually getting a food producer is pretty incredible. And of course, Sun Mini Meal has a pretty special product, right? So probably not surprised there, which I think is pretty exciting. Let me just go here. So yeah, pretty exciting them. Now we're expecting to hear some pretty major announcements from Sun AG or Sun Mini Meal at this summit. Importantly, we're going to have the setup of the soil foundation. This is going to be, so if you have concerns about Wolfgang, this is very, very cool because this moves all the buy and burn and stuff out of the company in real time. Like in real time, would be a process of company profits going into, or company's net sales going into this foundation, including the 1.6 billion tokens that is anchored. There's only less than 5 billion, right? So 1.6 billion will be, which is held by Sun Mini Meal, will go over to this new foundation, which will be a non-profit, which will receive 20% of net sales and operate the buy and burn of soil token, separating the charitable activity under the Swiss law from Sun AG commercial operations. So this seems to be the best path forward, and that will ring fence a lot of the issues that a lot of people have relative to the buy and burn itself and token holdership. So at least it gets those two issues dealt with. Now, obviously, the commercial operations of Sun Mini Meal is an ongoing concern, but that has so far been operating pretty well for quite a long time. Something like 10 years or so he's been involved with this, so it seems to be going pretty well. And people do, a lot of people do change, right? They do change. So he seems to have done that so far. So you can deep dive into that. This will include a shift from a manual to automated buy and burn system as well, which is pretty cool. They have been doing little mini burns at the moment, little micro burns there. And of course, at this summit, there's going to be many investor billionaire titans at the event, and Wolfgang has been associating with several of those. He's going to have them at his announcements, right? So there'll be several billionaire investors at his announcements, and some of them as rich as $19 billion or so. Some of them as poor as about $2 billion. So there you go. Yeah, there are poor and rich billionaires. How about that? That's the way it goes. So Wolfgang will be speaking there. Pretty excited about that. And he's going to be doing also on one of the panels. He's going to be speaking why soil matters and what we can do to save it. And pretty excited about that. And he does seem very passionate about soil and has been involved with it for something like a decade. So it does seem to be something that he's been able to anchor himself into and grow. And really, the food is pretty unique and pretty difficult to copy. It's got not only the formula of the food with all the nutrients that you need, but for way less calories, 800 calories. It's also got the soil that you have to use is very important. So it looks like this very, very unique food. It's kind of the holy grail of healthy food with all the nutrients and less calories, while also being very hard to replicate. So therefore, makes it pretty defensible. So pretty excited about that. And therefore, their growth ambitions could be very exciting, and it will attract a lot of attention from billionaires and other people like that. Now, in addition to that, of course, they've set up the soil token, which is pretty unique. And as I said last time, is this the stock market coming to PulseChain, or is this the PulseChain / blockchain going to the stock market? You can decide, but it's a very, very clever way of creating value, not only for the soil token representing Sun Mini Meal, but also for people that are customers. Customers win big, right? Win big out of this because they're basically holding kind of a stock for the Sun AG, but it's actually on the PulseChain. This is also a win for PulseChain because all the capital comes onto PulseChain. So we've got this massive, and this is giant. This is huge. This is very big. Minimum at the moment, we've got $40 million a year coming, and it's going to probably get much, much bigger than that. That doesn't even include the buy and burn, which is going to be massive as well. I've got that at a minimum based on last year's revenue at 17 million. Now, if you want to find the other numbers, you can join up our strategy club. Link is in the video description. We're going to be talking about that today with the future years of how much money could be coming onto PulseChain just via the buy and burn, let alone the on-ramps that are also being organized via Sun Mini Meal as well. So this is very, very exciting. So will Soil hit unicorn $1 billion status by the 3rd of June, making it a top 100 token? May spark some media exposure as well. There's going to be a lot of media at the summit, and they're going to have their announcements there as well. So they may pick up quite a lot of attention there. It is pretty unique as well because it stands out as a superfood that's really dealing with all the nutrients that people need for less food and less use of arable land as well. So it's a pretty big deal. Wolfgang may want soil price, however, to gradually rise past this point. 21 cents is where it would be at $1 billion. It's currently sitting around 13 cents. So it's still got 13 to 21 cents to get to $1 billion. It'd be maybe some big player will come on and pump it before then. Who knows? We'll see. But of course, he doesn't want it to run away too much because obviously there's the buy and burn as well. And there's also a lot of other things that he's going to be announcing soon. But he hopes that it will probably range between 15 and 30 cents. Of course, getting to 30 cents would be way past the billion mark because it's 21 cents, and that'd be a doubling in price from here. So pacing of new buyer power may occur if that is even possible. Of course, it's always hard to control the market. You can do it by not releasing alpha news, but that's pretty much it. Most holders with free coins, remember a lot of these coins were from customers that before it got forked over, a couple of weeks back, from points earned over the last 18 and 24 months, and may keep the chart in check because people make money pretty instantly wealthy, and they're like, wow, that's amazing. So you know what crypto's like. However, the future importance of official ramping up buy limits from 1,000 euros to 50,000 euros opens up investment firms and client books, and this is a very big alpha, right? So if you're wondering what's one of the big deals about this, not just the corporate buy and burn, which is massive, and we're going to talk about that in Strategy Club later on, but actually the investment firms that are hanging around this, and of course will be at the summit as well. And if they get access to their client books as well, there could be a ton of large investors coming into potentially into Soul Token, and of course potentially into the firm itself. So it could be pretty awesome. This may include NGOs as well, venture capitalists and institutions. An increase to 10,000 euros is expected on the 3rd of June. That is expected to be one of the announcements on the 3rd of June from Sun Mini Meal or Sun AG. And of course, Hex Scout just announced an increase to its on-ramp services from 1,000 to 3,000 euros only about 20 hours ago. And of course, that's huge, right? That's huge. So Hex Scout there moving to 3,000. That's a test for this 10,000 coming up on the 3rd. So that is very exciting. Once we get to 50K though, man, game on, right? Game on. 10,000, 5,000, 10,000. That's very important. That's a whole nother level. Instead of someone with $100,000 investment having to do, 1,000 times with 10,000, that only takes them 10 purchases. Obviously, if we get to 50, that's only 2 purchases. So it allows these bigger buyers to come in and buy. Now, the Sun Mini Meal customers, committed customers are doing about 8,000 euros a year. So it gives you an idea of potentiality for that. And what people can do as customers, they can buy Sun Mini Meal, or if they've already got free Sun Soil tokens, they can actually cash those in to buy more Sun Mini Meal food. So that's a big win for them as well, as potentially a big win bag for their retirement or something. Now, Soil token from Sun Mini Meal, his whole approach is also, obviously he's focused on the food as priority, but he's also focused on, will Soil token, Sun Mini Meal, be the next Bitcoin? Will it be a Bitcoin? And of course, the way this is set up, it could very well do that. So pretty exciting. At least, at the very least, it could become $1 trillion protocol on PulseChain, the only one that I'm aware of that can do that at this stage. But hey, look, in the future, a lot more opportunities potentially coming to PulseChain. An increase of 10,000 euros expected, so it's pretty cool. We expect other significant releases, including a new Sun AG website on the 3rd of June. And of course, that will also have a potential bridge as well, which seems to be working, and that is soil to points credits and points to credits back to soil. So, back to where customers can use the tokens to buy Sun Mini Meal packages. These are these superfoods and so on. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see that as well. And customer dashboard, we're expecting that as well, so which actually could obviously increase sells because people can see their portfolio and sell easier. They may not know much about crypto, but they can, buy and sell on the dashboard through that. But it also may dramatically increase the amount of people that buy soil as well. So there's going to be a battle between that supply and demand idea. And of course, all the new customers have to come on and they'll have their dashboard and they won't have free tokens. And so they'll have to buy through there as well. So we could see a lot of net buying over time. So it's going to be interesting to see, the bulls versus the bears and all the rest of the stuff. But that could be coming on the 3rd of June as well. So we're expecting all that to come out and more there's probably going to potentially some bigger announcements than this. But these are very important for buying power on the PulseChain, so I cannot understate that enough. This is coming from euros, so you're getting some of the richest people in the planet being able to buy into Soul token and of course on the PulseChain, which is massive, right? All this capital is coming on PulseChain, so PulseChain's the winner straight away. And of course, particularly using via USDC, right? So euros to USDC, and of course, bridging that from Ethereum over to PulseChain and then pumping PulseChain. So this is massive. This is why I say this is a really big deal. So people often, how are we going to get more money? How are we going to get new people? Well, this is how it's happening. This is one major thing. This is major. I cannot say it big enough. It is a major, major, major. And of course, there's many other things happening on PulseChain, bringing capital in. But this is, the elephant in the room, so to speak. Now, the potential ramp up in customer retail buying and participation by larger investors. And this is going to happen in waves, right? So don't expect it to happen tomorrow on the 3rd, but we're going to see some pretty new. Imagine it like a bigger gate being opened for the water to flow. It's just going to get bigger and bigger over time, and of course we'll have profit and loss and moving around because people, you're getting rich suddenly. You're going to sell a bit, right, and go, oh man, I just got instantly rich. You can sell it, right? So we're going to have a bit of that going too. So additional buy pressure is also expected from banks are official on ramp, and that's to go live in a few weeks, and all on top of the Soil Foundation buy and burns. Only micro buy burn so far, so 10 million tokens have been burned so far approximately, so 5 billion down to 4,999 million or something like that, whatever, 990 million. So it's pretty big. Now, also, we've got a little test here. If we had a $500,000 net buy, this would increase the price 65%, right? So, beyond the Soul could easily push to $1. And so, Wolfgang, the CEO there, is a little, or MD, is also, he doesn't want it to fly away that quickly because he also wants to burn the token through the buy and burn, right? So he doesn't want it to run the road too far away. So this is the chicken and egg type of thing, maybe. We got a seesaw thing. So the long-term price target of $100 is what they're targeting over 5 million holders by 2030. And so if they do get that growth in the customers, which they are going global, it could be pretty big. Then, of course, Sun AG expansion. Sun AG has indicated the potential to expand into large-scale bakery as well, and or other options are on the table. They're having discussions with different various people. So this could be a major expansion for them as well. This information is largely private and may result in some major announcements either on the 3rd of June. So this could be some of the surprise stuff that we get, or later in the year, as under obviously non-financial disclosures and all that sort of stuff. This is likely to involve major investment into Sun AG and more inflows into Soil, particularly from investment firms, and this could be massive, right? Particularly massive. So we'll see. We'll be patient, but this is kind of where we're heading. Exciting times ahead. What surprises await? And of course, Wolfgang has said, there's a lot of stuff he could say. He can't say it because they're under discussions or progressing through. But we should get a lot of alpha stuff happening on the 3rd of June. So this could be pretty good for Soul token. And that's why Soul, Sun Minimal, and institutions are coming to PulseChain via Soul. So you're wondering, when are these institutions coming? They are sneaking in onto PulseChain potentially over the next few weeks even. And some of them may already have started over here on Sun Minimal onto PulseChain. So this is really a big alpha drop because we have got this route of institutions immediately into PulseChain via Sun Minimal, our first big giant emerging corporate on PulseChain, which is a pretty big deal. So I'm pretty excited about where that's all heading. I hope you guys are too. I think it's going to be pretty exciting indeed. We got great movie, says Brennan. I'm not sure. Is that the green screen? I'm not sure. We got Crypto Jackson in the house there. Big shout out to you. All right, so nice. Do you guys actually see that while I'm talking about that? Yeah, I hope you did. Sometimes I just wonder there. All right, so that is Sun Minimal. Number 12 is on ramp now. Of course, I just talked about that. That is pretty huge, right? So on ramp now, and Hex Scout. So Hex Scout has taken up that lead with on ramp now, and of course they've expanded their offering to PulseX, etc. So let's go to Hex Scout and pull that up because I'm supposed to have that ready, but I didn't do it. But Hex Scout has really come to the party here. And this is 16 hours ago. The limits on hexscout.com buy have been increased to 3,000 per transaction. Ramp Now team is already working behind the scenes to implement the necessary changes for the upcoming 10,000 limit, which we're talking about on the 3rd of June, right? That's coming from Sun Minimal. So we're going to have this new dashboard, this new website for Sun Minimal customers. Remember at the end of 2024, they had 70,000 customers, guys. Most of these are no coiners, right? And probably a lot of educated people, but no coiners. And they're going to be able to come through that dashboard. And this is all new buyers coming on PulseChain. You think about that? Pretty neat. Obviously, the sellers there with the free coins, which is a subset of that, right? Because about 12,800 holders now. I can't remember what the fork amount was, but let's say 12,000 for argument's sake. And so that's a subset of 70,000. Obviously, you have regular customers, you have casual customers. There's all sorts of breakdown of those customers. but that's then. And what did we see from the first half of last year? We saw them increase their profits from the first half of last year, 24, to the second half by 435%. Massive gains there. So that's the massive gains. So what have they done into January, February, March, April, May, and we're getting into June, right? We're into almost that first half of this year. How much more have they grown from those numbers, right? Pretty massive. Now, if you want to find insights into that, you have to join the Strategy Club. Links in the video description, right? That is the alpha for the Strategy Club. So get in there. For that, I'm going to be talking about that in about an hour and 40 minutes. So it's pretty cool. Now, this is very exciting. So big deal here. And now we've got Hex Scout. Of course, this is the best portfolio for managing the Hex mining stakes and things like that. And they're doing a fantastic job. Now, they've also, where Sunny Minimal is coming through to buy Soul Token, this is coming in to buy Hex, Pulse, PulseX, Incentive, and USDC. Bridge from Ethereum, guys. So this is massive, directly with Fiat. So Fiat is bridging that USDC, and they're buying Hex, Pulse, PulseX, and Inc. This is massive. And this is not the official PulseChain bridge. So this is really coming on. Very, very exciting. So kind of cool to see that. And OMG, right? The bulls are coming, as I said on the post there. So that's pretty cool stuff there. Obviously, big news coming from Hex Scout, and we're expecting a lot more from them. Now, I posted around that, $40 million based on the current, 1.2 million we made in like 9 days. That would annualize to 40 million. Hex Scout came at me and they said, no, whoa, we're going much higher than that. We got lots of more plans coming. So Hex Scout itself has got lot more plans coming too. So that 40 million, is it going to be 100 million coming? 150, who knows what the price will be, but it's going to be probably at least 40 million or more coming to PulseChain just via this route, which is pretty exciting. And then we're going to layer on these different on-ramps onto PulseChain. So the capital is coming. That's the key, guys. The capital is coming, and the easiness of getting onto PulseChain is being made easy. This is the other side, right? You either had to know how to bridge over stuff and jump the centralized exchange to your wallet to bridge over and all sorts of stuff. This is now being made direct and easy. Those are two things, direct and easy, and the capital is flowing because we also are introducing new buyers as well. So this is the real alpha drop, and this is what's going to make big X gains for everybody. Make sure you're in the right assets. That's always key, but it's a lot of capital coming to PulseChain, so very, very excited about that. Now, that is kind of what we're seeing recently in recent moves, some of the big moves happening. Now, obviously, in the PulseChain developers, we've got lots more stuff happening in the space, so that gets us into the future, right? PulseChain will make you rich as long as you're in the right stuff, right? You got to be in the right stuff, but this is very, very cool. Make me rich, PulseChain. Absolutely. I like that. All right, so let's move on to the next part here, the future. It's going to be pretty cool. So future moves. Well, what are we seeing, guys? We're seeing whales like Rackham Rochelle and Rackham there. Rackham Rochelle and Firewhale there. Rackham. He likes ham. I don't know. He probably does. Rackham there. He probably has put a nice fire spit or something outside the house. And Firewhale, right? These two whales are both leading the way. We haven't got dormant whales just sitting around, fat cats, but they're actually doing a lot of work. So what we're seeing, Rackham Rochelle there is taken, we talked about the SEC case. He's taken that and he's turned it into a press release. He's sending that far and wide. He's putting a lot of money into marketing and promotion teams out there. These are traditional ones that are out there on social media. And you can see he's racking up some of his posts on his news articles are getting 500,000 views on them, right? So he's really rapping out there and getting a lot more eyes on the PulseChain. And he's obviously doing a lot of cool stuff recently. So that's pretty exciting. In fact, let's go to Rackham Rochelle and pick that up while we're here. And this show is going to be quite long, but hey, who cares when we're talking about so much good stuff, right? So yeah, he is doing a lot of cool stuff there. Now, let's see. Here we got, let me just scroll down here. He said, this is another thing he's doing is he's doing this big think tank here at the moment. And this is for PulseChain. It's basically like a retreat, a strategic retreat there. And he still has 6 positions open. So if you're a developer, incubator, or venture capitalist, feel free to request a seat. I really encourage you, if you've got some, fresh ideas, if you've got some cool ideas, innovation, if you're doing cool things, definitely think about, putting your name up. Honestly, if you're in the United States, it's going to be a lot easier for you, of course. But this is September the 25th to 27th. And this is, you got to hit up Steve Hits in there and get involved with that. But that is going to be pretty cool. So if you've someone that really has got a lot of good ideas, and I know I can think of some people straight off the top of my head, think about getting out there for that as well. So that was Rackham Rochelle. Post it in the chat there. But I do encourage you, if you've got, if you're quite innovative in the space, you've got developer or something like that, definitely worth, hitting them up about that. And kind of cool. So that's some of the cool stuff there. Obviously, he's been out doing a lot of marketing and stuff. So he's got these big news threads coming out there. I'm just trying to find one of the ones I'm thinking about here. He's doing a lot of animations on AI at the moment. He's obviously enjoying that. Here's one he put out, right? This is an article that he had on X. He got 12,000 views on that. That's the low end of some of the stuff that he's getting. I just want to scroll down to some of these other ones here. So he does this one here. He said, repeat after me, not your keys, not your coins. And he's got 461,000 views on that. So he's really working hard on multiple fronts, obviously buying coins, doing strategic think tanks, doing the highest stakes, version 2, putting out a lot of press releases, in particular around the SEC victory and things like that. And of course, a lot of, different topics that he's been putting out. He got 166,000 views on this one, this article here. So he's really out there doing a lot of cool stuff, the highest stakes, version 2, doing stuff on that. You can see all that sort of stuff there as well. And so on. So I think it's pretty exciting to see what Rack and Rochelle is doing, which is pretty neat. So that is Rack and Rochelle. And of course, we also have Firewhale doing a lot of stuff too, which is pretty neat. So Firewhale, of course, is doing X Games. So we're going to go check that out quickly. So X Game there. And they had an announcement today. They had an announcement up today, and that was, SolidX is redefining blockchain. The X Game is coming and fully powered by SolidX. SolidX holders become the house, cross-chain innovation, deflationary mechanisms designed to support price appreciation. Now, I'm hyper bullish about this. Of course, we're running the first dedicated X Game social group, and you can join Telegram group. I think the link's in the video description to that. I'd encourage you to join up to that today. And we've got all the news flowing in there and all the cool prices and stuff around there. But you definitely want to head up to that. Now, just want to go back to SolidX as well, because we want to find Firewhale, right? We must as well go to his account. This is Firewhale here, one of the big whales on PulseChain, and he's running that vision. It's going to be the fully decentralized casino, and of course, it's going to be one of the only licensed ones that I'm aware of in DeFi that's going to have a casino license, and they're going to have multiple games in there. So very, very excited about where that is heading. Pretty cool indeed. So that's some of the cool stuff happening from the whales. So kind of nice to see that. We also got Banksa on-ramp coming, and that could be within a few weeks. So that's going to be pretty exciting. And 2 other on-ramps are expected as well. Possibly one we may get it. It was supposed to come out in May. We'll possibly get it in June. And then also we've got another on-ramp expected to come in Q3. So this is more ways of getting onto PulseChain directly. This is also making it easy to get onto PulseChain, and often than not, it's introducing a whole ton of new investors onto PulseChain, and many of them may be no coiners, right? But because it's either made it easier, or because Sun Minimal, they've got a dashboard that makes it really easy to see their portfolio, and they just almost click a button, right? You put your credit card in, your debit card, whatever you did, PayPal, whatever, and different other bank methods of pay, and you can buy it straight away. And you didn't even have to hang around on the PulseChain. You don't even know much about it, It's all just happening on some other website, right? So this kind of thing. And we did see, talked about the all-in-one app. People have been talking about that for years. All-in-one app for PulseChain. We may see people pushing that development as well with an all-in-one app. So there's all this simplification, making it easy for it to be interacting with PulseChain without being like DeFi geeks like all of us. They can, we'll have all these investors that we'll never meet, never see, never talk to, but have all got holdings on PulseChain, and that is a beautiful future. That is a beautiful future indeed. So these are all happening, and it's all happening now. And you can feel the change, right? Since we came off the bottom of Pulse, you can feel the change is happening. Now we're still ranging, right, on PulseChain. We're between 3,500 and 4,200. We still haven't kind of break out for that next wave, but it's coming. It's coming. You can see it. The on-roads to PulseChain are happening. The capital is flowing, and it's just a matter of time, and it couldn't be too far away either. So I'm very excited about that. The big X's will start to emerge. Now, the big one, of course, is the Signum Oracle. We talked about the Fetch Oracle for liquid loans, and now we've got the Signum Oracle. It does feel like it's getting pretty close. Let's see. Hopefully, there's not too many other little bug issues and stuff like that. Obviously, Signum Oracle is coming. That should be pretty fine. It's the Tetra that's got seems to have the bug issues. So Tetra is coming before Signum Oracle, about 2 days before. But that a last update from Stu, the developer, was that they seemed like they pretty much got on top of that. They had to do the final skins and stuff, other stuff like that, all the software jargon. But that does look like it's probably going to come pretty soon. And of course, that will open the floodgates for a lot of protocols launching on PulseChain. We saw, on the Su chain that you do need decentralized oracles. Using centralized oracles can be compromised, or you need an insider to compromise your system. And if there's enough money in it for it, and they've got bad enough personality and ethics, they'll do it, right? So that's the thing. So Signum Oracle coming, and it's going to have a few more bells and whistles, as I understand it, compared to Fetch Oracle. But having 2 really good oracles on PulseChain is very, very cool. and it could usher in a whole era of really cool DeFi and GameFi projects. Obviously, PUSD Algo coming to PulseChain is a big deal for me. Flagship protocol. I think that's going to be massive. And could be Terra Luna done right with those stability miners that we're expecting from Jacob. And we know that he recently, earlier in the year, he did hire a team for PUSD Algo, and that could give us our first algorithm stablecoin. Now, if that works as it did on testnet, this would be a game changer in the world of DeFi algorithm. It'll be basically Terra Luna done right. It'd also be a stablecoin essentially from the beginning, and offer a lot of DeFi yield opportunities on there as well. And it is the key thing. It could be very scalable. And that's the issue with stablecoin. The stablecoin trilemma, they call it, is scalability, right? That is a big deal. And we see, fiat to some degree, but it's probably got less constraints. But also we see the liquidity forks have a limit, right? That's why we've seen a version 2 come out, etc. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of exciting space there for PulseChain regarding that. So looking forward to that. All right, so let's jump into number 4, PulseChain developers, boom, DeFi, GameFi, NFTs, and killer dApps. And that's kind of where we're sitting in the pocket on the Crypto Night Show. We're showing, obviously we're doing professional promotion services now on PulseChain. Really feel that's been a big need, and that's definitely proven itself to be. And we're looking for win-win outcomes for everybody, right? That everyone does well on PulseChain, so it's very, very important. And you can have the greatest protocol in the world, but if people aren't hearing about it, no one's going to find out, right? So, and we have a lot of cool teams, small and medium, large, that have great tokenomics, and we're excited to get that out and about there. And of course, we've moved into having our first X Space coming up on Wednesday, and so our promotional lead, Crypto MVS, is out there doing a great job. And of course, we're going to being held on Wednesday. We may have some more news around that too today. So we might have some other news around the rising stars of PulseChain. And that's going to be a fortnightly event. So if you're a team out there, you want to get booking, I book in as soon as possible because the spots are filling up pretty fast. And of course, we can then push you to the next following fortnight because it's going to be on every fortnight. So you definitely want to be on that. We suspect that it's going to grow bigger and bigger and bigger as we move into the bull market. So great opportunities for people out there to hear from some of the best rising stars and some of the best tokenomics out there on PulseChain. And some of them are doing very well indeed. So very, very cool. And we've got some pretty special ones coming. There's some pretty cool ones coming there with some pretty neat tokenomics. So, and game changer DeFi as well. So yeah, GameFi, DeFi, NFTs, killer apps. There's going to be a lot of cool stuff there as well. I am expecting a resurgence in NFTs, and we're going to talk more about that as well. As you guys know, I was pretty much the only influencer talking about all the NFT markets when they launched, and we had a lot of project teams on there. There was a bit of a mix between good people and bad people running those things. But I think we're going to have a resurgence coming up, and there's a reason for that, and maybe we'll be talking about that coming up soon too. That's kind of very exciting. All right, so let's jump into the next one there. Single side staking. I've talked about the Master Chef contract at PulseX. We may see the DAO open up, and the people become the owners, or at least the people owning incentive token. And of course, we may also see single side staking coming to that as well. That'd be very, very exciting, and other protocols, right? Then we've got the Magic Cup ride. We'll talk about that, of course. So we're waiting for Ethereum to get back to $3,775. That'll get us back to break even for the Magic Cup ride. And of course, we'll be back up at $635 million and beyond, right? We 2x that to 7,500 on ETH. And we're now at, 1.2, 1.3 billion US dollars. And who knows how far high that will go. Could be pretty exciting. We talked about the fact that a lot of those businesses and institutions are picking up Ethereum, not just Bitcoin, into their portfolios for corporates. That's a very bullish sign for Magic Cup ride value as well. Now, obviously, Magic Cup ride can be used in multiple ways. It can be used on the income side and buying side of assets, but it can also be used probably better on the asset sides, right? So actually, collateralizing a new protocol, and of course, possibly using PulseX and incentive tokens of the OA wallets and everything else like that in the mix. We'll see exactly what comes out of that in the future. Richard's Heart streams, of course, pretty exciting. And, if he streams, it's game on, right? And, of course, we obviously got the Interpol out there. But this would, he is the great founder, the great rebel who defeated the SEC. And he's got a huge following, and it would absolutely just boom, I think. We're seeing a lot more recognition from other people out in the markets, which I think is pretty cool. And we saw here with Alexander here, I was scared to death of the truth. Rich Art revolutionized crypto. And of course, he's been up and down on that, but coming out there, realizing that, it has been a big game changer there, and things are only starting to ramp up. So pretty exciting. All right. So that's Rich Art streams. That's going to be absolutely huge. You guys know that it's going to be massive. Even if he comes back, he doesn't have to stream as much as he used to, but if he comes back and does some long sessions, live streams with Richard, that'd be pretty bullish. All right, so let's go over here. Richard Hart Wallet, of course. Richard's talked about forking a wallet recently. Another bullish signal, right? That's on top of all his other previous recent moves, right? That was pretty exciting. Also, Richard Hart stablecoin, right? Obviously, in the past videos, he's often talked about doing a fiat back one. That could be happening as well. But of course, Magic Carpet Ride, people talking about PDI, and there's lots of different options out there, I guess, to bring in a protocol and take in collateral and support that. So we'll see how that goes. That could re-rate the asset value and the TVL of the chain as well dramatically. And of course, a lot of people could get pretty wealthy with big X's out of that too, right? So we'll keep a lookout for that. So there's a couple pump mentals there. Now, obviously, also a lot of the wallets out there are fake, right? I mean, Internet Money's been doing spectacularly well. Well over 75,000 downloads, probably well over 80,000 now is my guess. And so, yeah, there'd be the Richard Hart wallet, and that could deal with a lot of things. Could be an all-in app too. We could imagine if it's an all-in app as well, where you got all the different. You don't have to deal with PulseChain just like on Sun Minimal with their dashboard. You could have all the wallet, all the apps, and all the cool portfolio values all on an app there. That could be pretty exciting as well. We know that Love.io is doing something in a little bit in that space. Imagine having an all-in-one app for PulseChain. That'd be pretty bullish. So who knows? Could be seeing some exciting stuff there. If it doesn't come from Richard, there's a lot of other developers out there that are probably working on things like that too. Richard Hart DeFi and PulseX, we could see a lot of cool things in that, obviously, around single-side staking in the DAO, the Master Chef contract, and of course, other DeFi use cases for PulseX and Incentive Token in particular, and of course, Pulse and Hex. That could be pretty exciting as well. So, we may see a couple of evolutions. Really, since Richard Hart bet the ECC, he's really free to do a lot of stuff now, right? Even with the Interpol, he's really free to do a lot of things for the value of the chain. And we kind of saw that with the Richard Hart video and some of those alpha drops, including, of course, the little video we played earlier, right? Which we might as well try and play again, which was, of course, the one my favorite, which is God mode candles. We always love God mode candles.
You could get a God candle at any moment.
Yeah.
You could get a giant green candle at any moment because it's easier to get them because it takes less economic energy because there's less of it for sale.
Yeah, so we've seen a lot of those moves. Like if you look at the recent moves and you hear clips like that from Richard Hart talking about, we've got thinner LP. You can see that's number 4, right? Thinner LP. And we cut the inflation. These are all signals to the road ahead. Now, was it going to happen? Did it happen 1 month? No, afterwards. But it could have happened 3 months, 4 months, 6 months later. It's definitely on the cards. So, maybe it's when we get another interest rate cut from the Federal Reserve. Is that when he's going to do it? He likes things like that, right? He likes the interest rate cuts. So that could be the big move, right? Keep a lookout for that. That is pretty exciting. So that's why we cover, interest rates as well on the show. Now that finally gets us into community growth boom. Obviously we're growing already, man. Sun Minimal is bringing in new customers. We've got Hex Scout bringing on new customers. Banks is going to bring on new customers. There's lots of protocols out there bringing on new customers, and people are talking about it. So it could be new customers. I'm talking about new investors on PulseChain. I mean, we've got lots of new cool things happening there in the space. A lot of no coiners going to be interacting with PulseChain without even knowing much about PulseChain. And then, of course, we're going to have a lot more crypto people come over as well. When you get green candles, when you get big green uptrends, everyone's going to come, right? Everyone's going to come over from the DeFi. So you can get the low-hanging fruit of the DeFi and the CeFi community that know, somewhat about crypto. And then you get the no coiners, because we're going to have a lot of, easy onboarding where people don't even have to know too much about the chain. So it's going to be a pretty big growth boom. And man, off our base, we got potential base, I don't know, a couple 100,000. We got probably active, 10, 15,000, something like that. So imagine a growth boom off a low base. That could be massive X's in community growth size there, especially as we ramp up. We know a lot of the retail market's not really even in crypto at the moment. And it's mostly driven through sovereign corporates and states, US states and corporate institutions, stuff like that. And of course, the existing crypto market, because we all love this stuff. So it could be boom time there. The other thing, of course, more institutional, right? I told you that institutional is sneaking in on PulseChain through Signum Minimal. So if you're wondering when the institution's coming, they're already sneaking in here. And I suggest to you over the next few weeks, that's going to potentially may see some of that pretty play out because you would see some pretty big moves in prices for Sun Minimal and potentially for the Richard Hart core coins as well, with Hex Scout opening that range up broader also. It could be pretty exciting. And of course, we get a lot more institutions coming, not just through Sun Minimal, but from a lot of other avenues, maybe a bit through the institution network, saying, hey, look, we just picked up some stuff through Sun Mini Meal, blah, blah, blah. They're at a lunch table or something. There's lots of these sort of things, country club. And then they go, hey, yeah, you heard about that? And you go, really? Saw my Sun Mini? Oh, and it does this. It makes food and it buys and burns and it does all this cool and it's making value and they want to be the next Bitcoin. That's how it happens, right? And then they go, oh, okay, let's tell Ivan over there. Let's tell, whatever the other German names are, you guys decide. But they tell him, and then it's more people are investing over in the chain, and that word of mouth is huge, especially when they've got billions of dollars, right? That's a big deal. So yeah, we're going to see a lot of cool stuff. PulseChain will make you rich. You are here at the right time, at the right place. You can see that these things are happening now. It's substantiated. It's not just we hope this is going to happen. We can kind of see it's happening. It's potential. This is actually happening, and we're in, I think, in the early phase of the PulseChain bull run, and the price chart will reflect that in due course very, very soon, I'm sure. So very, very excited about that. Now, that means that there's big X's, but it still means you have to choose the right things, right? If you want to get the real big X's, you have to choose the right things on the chain. And of course, we've talked about many of those low-hanging fruits on the chain on the show all the time. But alternative, of course, you can get to a strategy club and talk about it there. We've got a top 10 list on there, which is performing very well indeed. And of course, also we talk about projects like Soil, Sun, Mini Meal, and we're going to be doing some of the cool alpha drops today on the future revenue, which I have not talked about on X or on YouTube or on. So just to let you know that's going to be in our strategy club, and that is only about an hour and 20 minutes from here. We're having that session in the strategy club as well. I've also tomorrow I've got the monthly report coming for strategy club. So the links in the video description to join it today. It is only $35 a month. So it's very good value. As you guys know, I love win-win outcomes all the time. Everything has to be a win-win for everybody. And that is where we're going in the future. So very, very excited to see where all it goes. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Pretty cool. That is the end of that presentation. So I'm going to close that down. And we're going to move into some cool stuff here around PulseChain. So we're going to quickly review the market. Still got about 5 minutes left, so we're going to race through this. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to smash the subscribe button on YouTube, smash the follow on X, and of course, repost. It really helps a lot if you do that, both on YouTube and on X as well. All right, we're streaming to 4 channels at the moment. At the moment, so if you're on one of those channels, thanks very much for the support. I appreciate that. All right, so let's go here. We've got Pulse Alerts. This was only a few hours ago. We had $400,000 come bridge over to PulseChain through the official bridge. So this is not through the other ones we're talking about. So that's really exciting to see. And of course, sometimes these guys are just interacting with arbitrage and stable coins. Other times they're looking to buy. So it just depends on who's coming over. But it's nice to see these capital flows coming over for whatever reason. For whatever reason, it is generally a pretty good thing. So that's kind of cool. The other big thing that we want to talk about, we've talked about Banksa. We talked about which is coming, probably launching back again in a couple of weeks. We're also talking about Ramp now, of course, bringing in already probably $1.5 to $2 million already in a short period of time. We've also got Liberty Swap Finance, which Richard Hart talked about, and this is a base chain to PulseChain bridge, and that's hit the streets as well. They look like they're opening up even more. 28th of May there for those looking to onboard to PulseChain quickly and affordable. Get your USDC on base chain from Coinbase, Robinhood, Kraken, and of course ZKP2P, or thousands of other on and off ramp services, all with zero fees, by the way. And then you transfer USDC to your self-custodial wallet and then bridge to PulseChain via the Liberty Swap Fi base to PulseChain bridge. And total fee there, 0.3%, pretty much the same as the official. No slippage, no additional fee, no problem with ETH gas fees, and of course, the PulseChain bridge congestion, because base chain is pretty cheap, right? So that is it there, and there's the interface there. You can see Richard Hart, thoughts on this, libertyswap.finance, and you can see the swap there between base and PulseChain. Pretty cool. So I like that, and of course, you can check that out as well. That is another alpha bridge coming to PulseChain direct from base chain this time, rather than directly from fiat onto the chain. So, things are wrapping up, guys, and I hope you guys, are really enjoying where this is going, because, I like to substantiate what's going on here, not just, say, hey, look, we could have this and this and this, but things are actually happening, which is pretty cool. Now, let me just post it in the chat there. You can check that out as well. Remember to always do your due diligence. Don't rely on anything I'm saying. Always confirm yourself, right? So just because I'm saying it, go and confirm yourself. It's very important that. So, all right, let's see here. We've got Prod Review and Housing. Great commentary today. I appreciate that, Prod Review. Big shout out to you. You're doing a great job out there too. I really enjoy watching your show. Who else has jumped in here? We got Richie Robinson. Thank you, Superman, for always the best content in crypto. I appreciate that, Richie, as well. And of course, hey, look, I'm covering PulseChain daily, and I think that's pretty unique, even amongst the PulseChain influencers. There are a couple of influencers out there that do, every couple of days or so. And there's a couple of influencers that do every day, but they do multiple formats, right? Not just streaming and stuff. And that's kind of a cool thing. We're getting more streamers coming back, which is really nice. It's great to have, was it the Dream Out Crypto back? Gerardo doing more stuff. Crypto Heartbeat did the second live stream yesterday. If you haven't checked it out, check out Crypto Heartbeat. It's a really, really fun place to be right now. PulseChain really ramping up. This bull market is ours, says Richie Robinson. Absolutely love that. It's so true. Well, UB have a lot better deal in the Netherlands there because obviously close to home to Wolfgang and the Sun Mini Meal. I think they're either in Germany or in Austria there, which is pretty cool. All right, that is the play there on that one. Let's jump over to the results for day 750. Can you believe it? Woohoo! 750 since PulseChain since PulseChain launched the 30th of May 2023. We got Pulse at the moment is at 0.0339, is at down 4.8%. So fortunately, we broke below 3,500. We got up to 42. We had to break 42. We got rejected at 42, so we're down now. Now, I said to you, we got thin liquidity pools. So when we do still not broken out, we do have that play right where we will go down easier too. So it helps us go up on an uptrend when we get that sort of that psychological FOMO to the upside, but it also means that we also can have a lot more volatility to the downside, and we're still not quite out of there yet. So yeah, a shame that we broke 35 at the moment, down 4.8%. So just keep a tab on that. You may be able to get a pretty good pickup right now on PulseChain before we do get some of those big moves we're expecting in the short time frame ahead. And of course, we could get a God mode candle at any time as well. Just keep notion of that, and of course, keep a lookout for some triggers, maybe like the interest rate cuts or something like that. So let's see where that goes. Pulse at the moment, quadruple 0295. It's just broken that 3,000 mark, down 8% as well. And we've got the buy and burn sitting at 1.42 trillion. PulseX has been bought up and burn 7.17%. So really good opportunity to pick up a lot of the good stuff at the moment, Pulse and PulseX. And who was it earlier that said they were sort of picking up both? That was a good strategy as well. All right, so incentive token there, $1.51, down 5% at the moment, and 55 million supply. The inflation's been cut, just like PulseX, Hex, I should say. Hex at the moment, 6/600th of a penny on on PHEX, down 6.5%, and EHEX at 2/10 of a penny. They are both sitting at 86/100th of a penny right now on Hex at the moment. So super good deal to pick up Hex. Like I say, with the thin liquidity, we could see a lot of moves on Hex eventually. Now, this is when you want to pick it up. Well, it's still humming around. We're still in the doldrums. This is kind of when you just keep accumulating. If you can do it every week, kind of cool, right? Just accumulate it. No one's really caring about it. It's not doing much, going up and down. This is kind of the play. You pick it up and you just wait for the when the run happens, because when it happens fast. And then you're going, oh my God, if you didn't do the accumulation, you're going, oh my God, now I've got to buy. Now you're paying the higher prices, right? So, and all the guys that accumulated and going, thanks very much. Thanks very much for buying. We appreciate it on the way up. So just remember that. So you got to make some judgments. Always do your own due diligence, and of course, make your best decisions you can there. All right, so jump in there if you want to get in the strategy club. Links in the video description. We do talk about a little bit about stuff like that, and of course, it's going to be fun to see where it all heads soon. But I think it's looking very good indeed. All right, so let's go to some of the other cool stats here to wrap up the show. How we're doing for time? Let me see here, an hour and 33 minutes. So I better wrap up shortly, but let's go to the gas prices. We've got 11.2 million beats. We've had a really high grade the last sort of 12 hours or so. So that's definitely spiked up 11. I saw it up at 20 million or so, even higher. We're at 10 cents for a PulseX swap at the moment. And we got the validators 50. Yeah, the validators are still going up, guys. This is definitely a bullish sign. We're back up again, 50,781. Very, very cool. Remember we had that validator that with 3,000 validators closed down, and we've recovered that, and now we're growing even more. So this is very bullish. Get Pulse while you can. 32 million Pulse to be a validator. Kind of cool. All right, so the bridge at the moment, 92 million. So we're definitely down. We're sitting around about 96.6 million, down to 92 million on the bridge assets. So these assets that are locked over from the bridge. But of course, we've got these cool, on-ramps coming on the PulseChain, multiple, which is feeding capital in as well. So nice. All right, so that's kind of where we are. Let's jump over to the supply numbers. I just want to briefly bring up some of this. This is on coin list, and we've got the current supply. These are slightly different numbers from the Go Pulse numbers. They're slightly different. They've got 135 trillion Pulse here at the moment. So the OA sacrifice wallet seem to be holding around about between 86 and 89% of both Pulse and PulseX. I mean, slightly different percentages there. I think PulseX on the lower side, 86 or so, and I think Pulse is on the higher side, about 89%. So this kind of seems to be the numbers that they have based on Go Pulse numbers. So if they're accurate, you can decide whether it's questionable, but that's kind of where the marks is for that ownership. Now, obviously, we've still got buying. We've still got inflation through the validator. We've still got burning going on as well through EIP. Was it 1509? I think it is. So that's still ticking away. At the moment, you can see the burn here. You can see the issuance, and then you can see obviously we've got slightly more burn. So, but here it's indicating we've got supply growth. And this is just over one day. You change the ranges, and it affects the averages, I think. And so, yeah, we've still got this going on here. Issuance 245 billion, and 110 billion on the burn. So that's kind of where we are at the moment on that. You can see this kind of looks like we've slowly been burning supply. So it looks like it peaked out there as well. So that's kind of cool. That's kind of where we are there. I think that's the supply burn there. Total supply, I should say. So that is kind of cool. The stats on Pulse coin lists. Let's jump over to the overall market. So PulseChain, man, doing massive volumes, 65.9 million. That's a huge jump. That is a massive jump, and a lot of that's just coming through from particular chains. So let's have a look at the volume on here. So it does look like the printer tokens, the OG WebChef tokens. Remember, they're pushing through 41.8 million. That's lifting because we were doing about 22, 28 million, 32 million. And now we're up with this volume over the Remember token. Obviously got a lot of volume cycling going on there. 41.8. That's the price down 22%. So, you can decide on that. It's only been around for 18 days. So, it's questionable what's going on there. All right. So let's jump back to the prop performance. So excluding if you exclude that printed token, then we're probably down closer to 20 to 25 million, somewhere in that zone. All right, so here we got at the moment, we got Federal Deposit. It's been around for 4 months, up 140%. We've got CDI in the house, so Compound Dime, one of these fork derivatives, right? From I guess the PDI maker, and that is up 57%. We've got the OG WebChef Missor up 34%. Finvestor, which is kind of the parent of all these OG WebChef printer tokens, that's the one that we saw on CoinGecko, right, in the trending. So that's pretty cool. It's a bit of the star today on the old PulseChain, and the first one that I recall getting on the old trending there that we've been covering on CoinGecko. That's up 24%, so doing pretty well. Just shaving off a little bit in the last 6 hours, but price is back at $37 at the moment. So we'll quickly look at that as well, see how that's tracking over time. Yeah, we've had quite a big pump in the last 3-4 days, just tapering a little bit now, but definitely a big lift in volume. $1.5 million in volume off the bottom there. We were only doing about 50K, and then we did start doing 560K, and then 375K volume, and then today, massive pump, 1.5 million. And that's what you can see from these printer tokens sometimes. Now, I'm not sure what's happening in the Telegram group driving this, but Finvestor is kind of the parent of and beneficiary, I guess, of a lot of these printer tokens like Missor and Remember and others. So that's kind of where we're out there. BFF is up 15% as well. What else there? Gas Money, another print token, OG WebChef, up 7%. And then we've seen a little bit of a bounce back from Teddy Bear Takeover, which got sold off quite harsh there as well, despite, having big influences like Moon King and others out there. Ian Heinisch, I think it is, the MCC, MUC? What's the fighting? MMA fighting. And of course, that got sold off quite hard there. I mean, we're up at 9,000, and it got pushed all the way back down to 3,100. So a pretty big sell-off there, and back up, having a little bit of a rally the last 2 days or so. And of course, just got tapered off. It's actually doing quite well, up to 4,200. Now is at 3,700 of a penny there. So that's kind of where we are. It is pretty low on the RSI. Remember, we did our RSI, so it's got a bit of room to move to the upside there. So we'll see what they can do on the with the old Moon King in there. Might be a good little entry at the moment. You can decide. Let's have a look at the 4 hourly on that as well. Yeah, 4 hourly there we were doing pretty well. See what I mean? Like they had a little bit of a pump there over the last half a day, and then just got sold back down again. So it's going to have a bit of resistance there. Maybe it might come back a little bit further, and you can see where that is. But on the RSI, yeah, it could definitely come back to 40 here. So we'll see. Maybe it's got a little bit more to come back down. Maybe it might bounce off 35, 3,600. We shall see. So 30, just below 3,800 at the moment on the old Teddy Takeover. Could be an opportunity there. FinFi, of course, up 6% there, $6.80. And of course, I think is that Crispy Man's one, FinFi? I just can't remember now. I think that might be his one. Mafia there from Jacob, up 2% as well. And then we've got a few other ones like Sparta and Jupiter, Pulse Up, and A little beast, another printer token from OG WebChef up a little bit. Now, I did talk about in the presentation Fetch Oracle. Well, it seems to be pretty even today, but sitting at number 22. Not too bad. And then, of course, we talked about Sun Mini Meal as well. That's sitting at 12.8 cents. So we're sitting at 13% cents for the live, just humming around. Will it get to 21 cents? That's $1 billion, right? It's on the old Sun Mini Meal. We shall see. This is a different peer. Oh, that's the wrong peer. You've got to go to the Pulse peer. Where's the Pulse peer gone? It's down here. Now, Pulse peer on here's one here for Sun Mini Meal. Just tapering off a little bit in the day, but we're sitting at 13 cents now at 12.4 cents. So we shall see. Ticking away. That orange line there is the Austrian World Summit. So it's only ticking away a few days. Unless a big whale comes in and pumps it to 21 cents, probably not going to make it, is my guess. And maybe just hum around this 13, 14 cents. Now, what news will come out besides all the stuff I talked about? Well, we shall see. Are they going to have big institutional investment, big partnerships, big expansions? We shall see coming out of that conference as well. So it could be a bit of fun. The other one I talked about, of course, X Game. We had an update from Firewhale, and X Game here, just waiting for that to launch really. So a pretty good entry at 2300th of a penny at the moment for X Game if you want to get on that. All right. So and the other one, of course, is SolidX, which I don't know if it's around here at the moment. Where did we get the mix? SolidX. I'm not sure if that's in there either, but SolidX is down here somewhere. Here it is here, $10 at the moment. $10 at the moment, down 6.8%. But hey, when it's going to be launching soon, and the license is probably coming, so keep an eye out for that. I had a post update today as well, so pretty exciting. All right, we're now on 40 minutes. Man, I've gone about 35 minutes over time or something like that, but hey, 25 minutes over time actually. But it was such a big show, so I hope you guys have enjoyed it. It was really, really cool to go through. Now I'm going to leave you with some pretty cool alpha. So from Raoul Paul, of course, the big whale, did some great analysis on the bull market cycle. And so not only does PulseChain look super bullish, big X's are coming, but also the time of the cycle is perfect. That's what I'm saying. We're all here at the right time, right place. And of course, these may very well be the last little, a week or so to pick up the cheap tokens. And you know how in crypto it happens real fast to the upside, just like the downside happens very fast indeed. So just keep playing the right game, picking up the right stuff there as well. All right, I'm going to leave you with this one. Take care, everybody, and don't forget to subscribe and follow. Share the channel around. That's the biggest thing you can do. Obviously, I'm covering here every single day, covering PulseChain. I'm very excited about our X Space coming up on Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern time. That'll be Thursday for Australia and New Zealand down under. And of course, I'm very excited about that. We're going to hear from a lot of great teams out there. And it's really a chance for them to get their cool stuff out there doing. And you can hear about that. So it's coming up. We'll be doing a lot more promotions about that moving forward. Very, very cool. If you're a team out there, you need some particular support with promotions to get your word out there, then head up MVS, Crypto MVS, the promotional lead for the Crypto Night Show, or myself, and we can talk to you about that as well. PulseChain's going professional, man. There's corporates coming to PulseChain. We've got professional teams like we talked about yesterday, crypto with Nick yesterday as well with the Surf token. There are big teams coming to PulseChain, and professionalism is going to be a key part because we want investors, right? We just don't want meme coin speculators. That's going to be a part of the market, but we want to up the game on PulseChain as we head into this bull market. Very, very exciting times ahead. All right, that's enough for me. Thank you, Superman, says Richie. You're most welcome. Crypto League in house there is a bag of 600 million piece, a good bag to hold and make millions. Certainly you could do that. Yeah, could definitely do that. So that's a very good bag indeed. Now, probably we talked about this yesterday. Probably 100 to 200 million pulse is a pretty good bag minimum to have if you want to do pretty well in the cycle. You can get some pretty decent numbers. So you just got to hold it and wait, be patient, and preferably that's just be patient with it and let it cook in the oven, so to speak. All right, kind of nice. All right, we're going to finish the show. I've got to finish. We've got to get out of here. All right, take care, everybody. I'll catch you again tomorrow. Another show, another day. And let's see what else is happening in this 24-hour period. We've got Monster Thread number 4 coming up on Monday, Sunday US, Monday our time. And, of course, if you are wanting to get on that, your project team, hit us up as well, either Crypto MVS or myself. It's going to be a fun time ahead. All right, take care, everybody, and enjoy this last part. I got to go. Bye for now.
Not a mystery. It is a repeat of the debt cycle. They are rolling the debts. They are doing the same thing. Each cycle is not to do with a halving cycle, nothing to do with any of that. It's all driven by liquidity cycle and funding of debts. Each phase, we get phase 1 of the banana zone, banana number 1. The corrective zone, banana number 2 comes. Another correction, banana number 3. So this is the banana zone. So that's what happened in 2020, 2021. Off we go. Sorry, that was 2017, which again looks very similar to this one. That was the last one. Here we are now. It can't be clearer to me. I've shown you the macro evidence, the technical evidence, the sentiment evidence. Everything here suggests to me that hold on to your hats, don't fuck this up, don't lose control of your tokens, don't use leverage, don't get your wallet hacked, just sit with it, be careful, don't get FOMO, do all of the right things, and we'll go up to the next phase of correction zone. That's going to be harder, because the next one that happens will have a 35% drop, and you'll all say, is it over? And you'll definitely be sure it's over, and everybody on Twitter will tell you it's over, and it won't be over. By our work, we suggest that because of the elongation of the business cycle, because rates were higher for longer, the forward-looking liquidity suggests that, again, probabilistically speaking, without any guarantees, this whole thing goes into Q1, maybe Q2 of 2026, which would align with Trump's, trying to win the midterms as well. So everything's lined up for us. I think it started. So keep the faith, keep building stuff, and let's keep driving Siri forward with all of this. Thank you.